what we have all been holding on to as our stories for at least what I've come to be aware of the last 20 years. Now it can be less or it can be longer for each person, you know, but I'm just seeing this 20-year cycle really closing. It just brings a fullness to the human story and the deconditioning of these templates that we hold. Regardless of how the indoctrination got there, it doesn't matter, or how the pain how all these painstaking experiences showed up in your life. The fact is, as celestial beings, we stepped into these genetic miasms, okay, in the DNA, in our lineage, and we, as brave soldiers, warriors of light, we've taken on these sins, and that's the same as what Jesus did. You know, he took on the sins of the masses, and he transformed them through love, through compassion, through understanding, through self-acceptance, through radical, release of expectations. It's like, which has already happened. It has already been experienced with the Tartarian age, or what we call antiquity, that's been hidden. And the Great Tartaria, which was the second coming of the Christ. Now we are the all, we're the angelic. So this comes after the second coming of Christ. And when we're the all, it's not only are we coming in and clearing humanity of the sins, we're also taking in the fullness, the collective, because it's like programming and indoctrinations that we have to work through, which are not necessarily the easiest, because we're so taught to listen to our ancestors, and they know best, and they were here during this time, and they know. Well, you also got to see that these beings were some of us. They were some of us. They are some of us, because they're currently going on. There's no such thing as past, and it's all happening in the now moment because it's in your damn body. And so these beings were only as educated as they had been indoctrinated as well. So with us having the clarity, the third eye awareness or accessibility, which a lot of us do have, which is our intuition, when we lean into the intuition and we're in alignment with who we are, and we're not trying to base our lives upon what everybody else is doing, and you really become that authentic expression of soul, embodied, and that soul expression, then we lead the way through heart-centered awareness, which is what opens us up to, not being in cognitive dissonance, not being in manipulated by our templates and by the masses. Okay. So anyways, yeah, this transfiguration, that's what Christ did, Jesus did, and then he became Christ, right? So he transfigured once he transmuted. For one, we are going to move as a collective, as a species, out of this human 3D realm that we've been experiencing and into a celestial realm. So we are going to be newcomers. We're going to be like babies, essentially, in this world that we have created. And it's the development of the ego, and coming out of our shadows and coming into the awareness that we are self-actualized, that we self-actualize, that our pains, our suffering self-actualize into our reality. Even if it's not our personal pain and our personal struggles, it's from our lineage that we have chosen to come in and to feel, to heal it. And as we heal through our shadows, as we heal through that suffering templates, we become more compassionate about the totality and our humanity and our commonalities. We bond in that suffering, because my suffering is your suffering is my suffering. Just like your happiness is my happiness, right? And my happiness is yours. And so the self-actualization awareness that comes self-actualized, we've realized that we've self-actualized our pains and our suffering, even on a collective level, with the fear and the governments and the control and the elite, or I call them poo, the power over other structures, the shit that they've put us through, the poo, right? Once we've gotten to this point of the suffering, then we step into the self-actualization of our angelic self. And this is helping with, like, obviously our cognizance, our awareness is solely dependent upon our depths that we're willing to go in and do this work. As you heal or become aware of your patterns and your ways of being, more awareness, more light unfolds from within you, from within us. And more light means more consciousness. The more consciousness, the more, it's called a light quotient that we hold. And the more light quotient that we hold individually, it is about us being illuminated and having more awareness, more connection through our auric field, less interference patterns, less cognitive dissonance, less infiltration, reversals within what can really throw us off kilter, okay, that causes the imbalance in us. So the more light quotient that we have, the more it stabilizes our receptivity, our conscious, our input, and our output. Anyway, so the Jinky 19 is the future human, and this is the shaman. This is the person that can speak with the heavens and the Deva kingdom and even the demon kingdom. This is, a lot of people actually have Jinky 19 in their charts. It's an Aquarian energy, and they do connect into the demons, and demons aren't going to necessarily tell you they're demonic. They're going to mess with you, manipulate you, and tell you that they're angels. This is where a lot of that fuck up happens, but this is, again, it's the tests and the trials to learning to what you're communicating with. And anyways, and so the 19 is the bridge, okay? This is the shaman. And then it's also the final sacrifice. This connects into cosmic communion and the 6th initiation, planetary initiation, because it's communion, the imbibing of the second aspect of the Holy Trinity, the Christ. So taking on that Christ light, sacrificing your ego, your desires, any of these like all of the emotions and the discognizance and the templates that are clogging that light from being able to be expressed, okay, from within. And as we do that, as we are collectively, individually and collectively doing this, it is allotting for more of that light to radiate from within and to be released. This is also connecting us with Neptune. Neptune is in Jinky 55. So 1955, very, very close connection. Again, because of it's part of the 6th initiation, the final sacrifice of these desires, right, of your personal desires and ego, and becoming Christ, becoming your Christ self, your 12th dimensional self in this physical body. And so this is where we're in that final surrender. And this is, again, there's the transmutation. It's being in the gift. The gift is the ability to cry, the ability to release, the ability to let go and surrender to something more, right? To something bigger, a bigger power, a higher power, right? A frequency of God, light, source, right? Oneness, and letting go of your I, your individual I, and stepping into the powerful I am, the omniscience of I am. And so the all-seeing I, right? The omniscience, the all of what God is. And it's being able to see this bigger picture. And so this is the North Node. This is our Dharma, the collective Dharma, and where humanity is going, where it's being guided to this is the energy that is directing humanity towards its Dharma, its future. 5, in humanity, like whatever you see above in the heavens, this is what's happening on a collective level. So there's this big purification of what isn't love, what isn't of Christ, what isn't of the higher nature, being purified within the spirit and the spirit bodies and the awareness and of the collective. This mind-body coherence. Okay, so the mind and the body are at ease, although it could also be in a lot of opinion. These opinions are not our own. Opinions are given to us based off of what we have been shown in our life or told in our life, and like, oh, that creates your opinion, or it's just another word for judgments. So there's a lot of mind-body awareness that's coming into the bigger picture and seeing like what is actually in store for humanity. Understanding that what we see out in this reality isn't sustainable. What we've seen being played out isn't of true loving nature. It is of the shadow or the hell realms, right? Which is the collective shadow. And as we come into the I am presence, we realize that we are self-actualizing, and that the world that we desire to create is that of Christ, that of the highest realms, that of the celestial realms, that we don't deserve as a collective to live and continue to live in our suffering. We deserve to live in love and peace and joy and play. And, we can self-actualize that. There's nothing in these books that says that we can't do that. The only thing is that we're all learning how to do that. And so this is like what we have with the embodiment process is, once we surrender to all of these doubts, all of these indoctrinations and discognizances that we've carried as a collective in the templates, once we allow for that to heal, to clear, and to let go, and we just trust in our own wisdom, okay, which is through your lived experience, what has worked for you, okay, not necessarily what has worked for somebody else. That's the thing we all get tripped up on, is that we or get angry about or frustrated with is that what works for one person doesn't work for somebody else, because we're all here making our own path. And where people get tripped up is, it's the same thing when people go to try to market their business and like, I use the same template that they did and they have this, that, or the other, and I don't. Well, it's because that was for them. That template worked for them. It came through them. It worked for them. You're not supposed to take that path, so you're going to have resistance because there's something that, again, you're trying to mimic somebody else, when you're not. We're not here to do that. We're here to make our own path. And again, that is the teachings of the Christ, which is to be the light, to be the way, just to show others, but not to do it for them, okay? Although we can help assist in healing people just because of the frequency that we carry, because we're holding such a high frequency that when we come into contact with them, those energies cannot sustain in the field. And so lots for the love to shine from within them, and for their own judgments and their own self-scrutiny to be dissolved. You've got to give them a chance, right? And so this is, for me, what I feel, what I see transpiring in the templates on a collective level. I really do feel the embodiment of the angelic template, self-actualizing is what I'm getting at. Like, who knows, we might pop out with wings and fly. But I really feel that these wings are etheric. This world works on electromagnetic propulsions. It works on, the magnetic sphere that we exist within, and the electro frequency, right? Frequencies to repel with each other, and us working within the light spectrum, the energy spectrum, or sound spectrum, right? And we're able to morph. We're able to, it's neurogenesis. So our brains they don't stop growing. Neurons don't stop growing, right? We're able to grow new neurons. We're able to create new neurological pathways, and we're able to show up physically different, and we've been indoctrinated into one way of that, which is, work out and your body will change. But we've also seen monks and people, which is their own testaments, that said, no, I just meditated and I visualized, and eventually my body started to change, right? It's intent. It's the intent. And what intent are you holding? right? And what are you what energy are you feeding is energetically being pressed and moves like these synapses through the brain, right? So we're able to transfigure, and we know this, but it takes what we can consider time, but it's just the reprogramming of the subconscious. And so time, but reprogramming of the belief, right, that I'm limited to. So, and we've all collectively, those that are on this path know that they've been deconditioning that program as well. And the shifting in the lower mind or the solar plexus and how we operate, how our mind operates, and how, our energy centers operate with our auric field, with the plasma bodies, with the light body and the ether body and the fascia body and all the bodies working in harmony. So it is really about coming into your Christ aspect. It is about becoming your celestial self, without having to force it. It is if you are meant to, you will. And it's not always like people don't do, like, we don't flower all at once. The garden doesn't bloom all at one time. Not all trees fruit at one time. It is progressive. And as those that have been, on this path for years, in this life, they will start to unfold. Their cities will bloom within them, regardless if they know what the fuck cities are or not. That citic state of consciousness, which is a fifth dimensional frequency, which is an unimpeded higher mind, the Buddhic mind, communicating, right, through the vessel. But even larger at this point, it's beyond the Buddhic plane. We're embodying the Christ self, or the avatar self. So we're embodying that Christ self, the avatar, 12th dimensional self. And as those frequencies, they downstep into the aura, right, which is it goes up into the atmosphere, right? And it downsteps closer and closer and closer into the physical. And the closer that your Christ embodiment gets into the physical embodiment, which is known as transfiguration, or the embodiment of the rainbow body, okay? The closer that it gets, the more palpable it gets, the more that starts purging, like you saw me yesterday. The more that starts to purge and come up to be witnessed, to be loved and to be released, to transmute it, essentially. And as these beings start to come into the full transfiguration, they will flower this fifth dimensional frequency, and it will be their natural state. These are the Buddhas, these are the Christ, these are the walking avatars, the living saints, the statics, whatever you want to call them, the dakinis. So many names, so many different cultures. These are the divine beings. And as more of us come into that physical transfiguration, we will change the way that the energy operates in humanity and on this plane, in this hologram. Because this hologram is held in place by frequency manipulation, which we override tenfold at least, right? It would only really take like 5 to 10 avatars being fully actualized in this world to truly change it. But there's going to be more than 5. There's going to be hundreds of thousands, if not more, people that are fully actualized in this life. And that's why we will not be living in this reality, in this world. We are transcending this game, and we are joining our brothers and sisters, celestial brothers and sisters, in the heavenly realms, which do exist above the cloud cities, above the magnetosphere, in the stratosphere. And these, with this full moon veil like being lifted, I know that a lot of us can feel we can feel the higher dimensional planes. We can even, some people can even see it. Okay? Like, these are divine gifts to be able to see that. Like, I love artists because they have the inner eye, like, fully illuminated. And the beauty that they bring to us is really our imagination actualized. Again, this self-actualization. Everybody plays a role. Everybody's playing a part in the self-actualization and the angelic human returning with the celestial hierarchy, you know, which exists. There is a celestial hierarchy. Like, I do not believe for 1 minute that we are here to live this way and to live on this plane and to still have to have conversations about money and digital currencies and can I get a house in time? Can I, find a piece of land that doesn't have polluted water and destroyed soil? Like, come on. That's not what we came here for. And I don't care how many human egos have given a timeline to include Iyasha and her 900 years. I'm going to tell you this right now. I've been studying that material for quite some time, and you can't regurgitate her. And watching her videos even 10, 15 years after she's made them are absolutely boring and awful. And I could not imagine my child trying to sit down and watch Iyasha's videos to understand what was happening 50 to 60 years before they were born. I don't see that happening. Okay? So, at all. And again, we're in a time when we are here to shift humanity to the next octave. Take the species up to the next level. Okay? Which is not going to take 900 or 1,000 fucking years. Look how intelligent we are already. We're very intelligent species. Not because some alien agenda gave us technology. Motherfuckers, we're the ones that had that technology to begin with, that they shysted it from us. Okay? They were haterades on us. They were angry at us because God made humans in God's image, which made us more powerful than the angels themselves, right? And so that jealousy, which is a great reason why you should watch the TV show Lucifer, because that jealousy, that anger, we're all God's creations, but not all God's creations are created equal, okay? Just like you don't love your dog. If you have kids, you don't love your dog as much as you love your children. And if you say you do, you're wrong. You love your children more than you love your dogs or cats. Okay? Until you have a child, you won't understand that. And you're like, oh my God, there's levels. No. Love is love. No. Like, I love my husband, even though I don't want to be with him anymore. But I don't hate him. I love him for who he is. I don't want to be with him. It's a platonic love. And the same thing with I love my animals. I've loved all of my animals, but not as much as I love my children. Okay? And so all God's creations are not made equal. And the angels that fell, they were just jealous. And jealousy destroys. And, we can say that all kinds of other things, but my point being is there. Okay? They got jealous, and so through their jealousy, that's the demiurge. That's the shit that we're clearing out of the templates. Like, no, I can love that too. No, I don't need to be jealous. No, I don't need to be competitive. No, I don't need to have hatred and animosity and vengefulness. I don't need any of that, right? So that's what we're all here doing, is like coming into love. Like, we are love. That's our pure intent. We are love. And when we come into the social cultural conditioning and environments of hatred and fear, then you take on those programs and you start placating them as if they are your own, like an opinion. You start taking on that opinion like it's yours, right? Because that's the opinion that your mother held. It is. And it's going to be very physical, in its expression. Neptune in 55, the solar plexus mutation, again, the way in which we will operate from our subtle bodies right? This is the rainbow body activation. This is the egg, right, cracking open, and the kingdom of heaven revealing itself. So that stream, that 12th dimensional stream of Christ consciousness, fully actualized, self-actualized, angelic presence. Boy, you got to believe it to receive it. You got to believe it to receive it. This is blind faith. This is trust in the divine, in the divinity of you and all that you are and all that you've come here to be. You must believe in yourself to self-actualize. You must know it to the core of your body and your soul to be it.